Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
I'm sorry, I'm all for protests, and people should, I'll defend that to the end, and people's right to say what they want to say. But at a certain point, it goes beyond that, and what we're seeing now, it's not protests. It's a war. It looks very much like a color revolution, frankly.
It is,
That's what
brother.
It looks like.
It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I found that video. I thought it was Columbia. It's actually City University of New York. I knew that Ami was in New York, but they've got 4 different protests going in New York City at 4 different colleges, not just Columbia. So he went to CUNY, and let me pull that up for you. I have to show this. It's just so absolutely wild and crazy. You guys have got to see it.
I'm not scared of shit, man. I'm not scared of shit. I'm Ami Horowitz, and there are protests breaking all across the country on our campuses. These are people who purport to support the Palestinians, but in reality, they simply have a base hatred for Israel. They also have a hatred for the United States. So I'm here on the campus of City College of New York, where there's an encampment and a protest. I'm simply going to go into the middle. I'm going to wave the American flag without saying a word. Let's see what happens. Don't touch me. American. American. I'm an American. Hey, give my flag. Hey, give my flag. What the fuck, man? Hey, it's America. What the fuck, man? Oh, don't fucking hit me.
Get out of here. Get out of here. No, get out of here.
No, I'm not.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Hey,
Get out of here. Get out of here.
fuck, man. Get the fuck off me.
Get out of here.
No, no,
Get out of here. Get out of here.
No.
You're not going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere.
This is property. Leave. No. Leave. Hey, don't fucking hit me. Get the fuck out of here. Don't fucking hit me. The fuck out of here. Don't fucking hit me, motherfucker. My hands are up. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up.
You're insane.
Don't hurt me.
Get out of here.
I'm an American. I'm an American. Yo.
We're all American, man. Come on.
Great, so I'm sorry.
You gotta go. You gotta go, please.
I'm an American.
You gotta go, man.
Get the fuck off of me, man. Don't fucking push me.
Nobody push him.
Don't fucking push me. I'm an American. The fuck, man? I'm an fucking American.
You gotta go, bro.
I'm an American. I want to go to city campus. Oh, fuck, man.
What are you doing?
What
are you doing?
I'm not getting off campus. Get the fuck off of me.
Get out.
Are you gonna hurt me?
Get out.
You gonna attack me? I'm not scared of shit, man. I'm not scared of shit. Come down to me.
Get out.
I'm not scared of shit.
Bye.
I'm not scared of shit.
You gotta go.
I'm an American.
You gotta go.
No, man. I'm an American. I'm an American. I'm an American. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. Don't touch me.
Yeah. Listen to me.
Don't choke me. What the fuck? I'm a fucking American. I want to go to campus.
You can go to hell.
Stop. Yo, man. I'm not leaving. You can punch me all you want. I'm not leaving.
حبيبي
Hey, you just fucking choke me? Get off of me. Don't fucking choke me. Don't fucking choke me. You fucking headbutted me, motherfucker.
Stop, yo, what the hell is
I'm not fighting.
You gotta stop.
I'm not fighting.
Don't hurt him. Don't hurt
I'm
him.
not fighting. You guys are punching me. You guys are fucking punching me. Excuse me. They just punched me and choked me.
Stop this guy, man. I'm gonna get him out of here.
Walk back. Walk back. Walk
They
back.
just punched
Walk
me and
back.
choked me.
Take him out. Hey, they're punching me. What am I doing?
Get the fuck over here. Let's
Dude.
go.
Dude, what the hell?
Let's go.
I'm trying to go on campus.
Shut up.
Do you see me do anything? Okay, we are not in America anymore. Boys and girls, we are not in America. We're in some kind of weird police state. So I just got out of the police station. I went to this protest with an American flag on a city college that I and all American taxpayers pay for, and I got my ass kicked. I was punched, I was choked, I was thrown down a flight of stairs. And yeah, that's how the Palestinian protesters are dealing with anybody. They are thugs, they're animals, they're outside agitators, they're people from school, and yeah, this is what is going on our campuses. Well, they will attack somebody who's just walking up with an American flag. Nothing about Israel, nothing about Jews. They hate America. Let's be very clear about what's going on here. They hate this country. That's what we're dealing with in this country.
I love RA. That's one brave Jew right there. It's what we need. We need some spunky Jews out there. And there are some. Have you seen the guy out at UCLA? I don't know his name. But there's this one Jewish kid who's real feisty. And he's been going to UCLA every single day, just trying to get to class. But he films it and posts it.
Oh,
on
is this
Twitter.
the guy
What
who
happens
keeps
to him?
running into the people who are blocking his access?
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
ran him yesterday. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know what? I truly believe that the answer to anti-Semitism is pro-Semitism. It's time to say, you know what? Jews are pretty awesome. I like them. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I have a lot of Zionist friends. They're damn nice people. They're awesome. Sorry, haters, if you're out there in the chat. If you're an anti-Semite who hates Jews, I don't care. Bite me. Eat it.
Just too much hate in the world all the way around, too much prejudice, too much bigotry.
Exactly.
And
right. Well, you know, he said something there at the end of that video that I thought was so important. He said, this isn't about Israel anymore. It's not about Palestine. It's not about Gaza. It's about America. It's about, and Canada. It's about law and order. Like I said when I came on, we already have laws to deal with this. The Civil Rights Act. It's about equal rights for everyone in our public places and on our college campuses. And it's about that. It's not about that. The Israel-Palestine, it doesn't matter what the reason is that they're there protesting. The point is you're illegally occupying public spaces and you're preventing other people from using those public spaces who have a right to be there. And you're bigots because there's no other reason to do it. You're not from around here, are you, boy? Yeah. You know, I'm from the South, Rick, and not everyone from the South is a racist bigot. By the way, we take more offense to that sort of thing than the folks up north do. Where are the problems on the college campuses? The North, the West Coast. You don't see that happening much down south. And isn't it interesting? Because in the 60s, things have completely flipped on their head. In the 60s, the racist bigots and all the problems at the universities were in the South.
James H. Meredith, backed up by the federal government's determination that the law be observed, wins his fight in Oxford, Mississippi, and becomes the first Negro known to register in the state university. But the climax leaves bitter wounds. The town becomes an armed battlefield, with federal troops moved in to stand by the U.S. Marshals against the crowds that besiege the campus. Governor Ross Barnett had asserted that he would never allow the school's 114-year tradition of segregation to be broken. But he capitulated to President Kennedy, who takes his appeal for peaceful resolution to the people. In a nationwide address, he urges the rioting students to respect laws they disagree with as well as those they agree with.
Americans are free and sure to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it. For any government of laws and not of men, no man, however prominent or powerful, and no mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law. If this country should ever reach the point where any man or group of men, by force or threat of force, could long deny the commands of our court and our Constitution, then no law would stand free from doubt. No judge would be sure of his writ, and no citizen would be safe from his neighbors.
But even as he speaks, rioting is resumed. 2 men are killed, score 150 are arrested after a night of terror. Among these, and he is later transferred to a federal medical center for observation, is former Army Major General Edwin Walker. Oxford remains an arena where ancient passions may smolder and flare for a long time before they cool.
And of course, it was the Democratic Party that was the party of Jim Crow, the party of bigotry, the party that supported this sort of thing. President Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson took a huge political risk by speaking out against it, by introducing a civil rights bill. There were so many people, Democratic Party leaders in 1963, by the way, most of whom were racist Southern bigots, who told President Kennedy, shut up about civil rights. You're going to lose the South in 64. He was up for re-election when he went to Texas. That ill-fated trip to Texas. A lot of what those Texans were angry about was the civil rights bill that he had just introduced.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This afternoon, following a series of threats and defiant statements, the presence of Alabama National Guardsmen was required on the University of Alabama to carry out the final and unequivocal order of the United States District Court of the Northern District of Alabama. That order called for the admission of 2 clearly qualified young Alabama residents who happened to have been born Negro. That they were admitted peacefully on the campus is due in good measure to the conduct of the students of the University of Alabama, who met their responsibilities in a constructive way. I hope that every American, regardless of where he lives, will stop and examine his conscience about this and other related incidents. This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Today we are committed to a worldwide struggle to promote and protect the rights of all who wish to be free. And when Americans are sent to Vietnam or West Berlin, we do not ask for whites only. It ought to be possible, therefore, for American students of any color to attend any public institution they select without having to be backed up by troops. It ought to be possible for American consumers of any color to receive equal service in places of public accommodation, such as hotels and restaurants and theaters and retail stores, without being forced to resort to demonstrations in the street. And it ought to be possible for American citizens of any color to register and to vote in a free election without interference or fear of reprisal. It ought to be possible, in short, for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or his color. In short, every American ought to have the right to be treated as he would wish to be treated, as one would wish his children to be treated. But this is not the case. The Negro baby born in America today, regardless of the section of the state in which he is born, has about 1/2 as much chance of completing a high school as a white baby, born in the same place on the same day. 1/3 as much chance of completing college. 1/3 as much chance of becoming a professional man. Twice as much chance of becoming unemployed. About 1/7 as much chance of earning $10,000 a year. A life expectancy which is 7 years shorter, and the prospects of earning only half as much. This is not a sectional issue. Difficulties over segregation and discrimination exist in every city, in every state of the Union, producing in many cities a rising tide of discontent that threatens the public safety. Nor is this a partisan issue. In a time of domestic crisis, men of goodwill and generosity should be able to unite regardless of party or politics. This is not even a legal or legislative issue alone. It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right. We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the Scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place? Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression. And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
This cancer is going to spread to the point where it's going to get violent. You need to stamp it out now.
It already is.
Yes, I mean, like it's
the
gone
thing
too
is,
far.
are we just waiting for someone to get killed? Is that what it's going to take for President Biden to act? Is that what it's going to take for these school administrators to act, to comply with the federal law? Once again, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, specifically Title VI. This isn't rocket science. This is basic law. This is basic civil rights law 101. I studied it in school, and I guarantee you all these people are lawyers. They understand that it's the law of the land. They're choosing not to enforce it. President Biden is choosing to do nothing. He could federalize the National Guard today and should have done it weeks ago.
He is just more worried about votes in Michigan than he is about the the welfare of the country.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And, I put out a challenge today to my friend Bobby Kennedy. And I said, I challenge you to go to an occupied college campus and give a speech. It's about civil rights. Not about Israel, not about Palestine, not about Gaza. About civil rights. And uphold the legacy of your dad. When your dad visited the University of Alabama campus in April of 1963, he was met by mobs carrying signs that said, Kosher, Kennedy, Castro, Khrushchev. Let that sink in. They were anti-Semitic mobs of racists who were waiting for him when he came to the University of Alabama to talk to Governor George Wallace about integrating the campus in accordance with federal law, with the federal court's ruling. That's why he went.
Kids carrying anti-Kennedy signs appeared in front of the Capitol before the Attorney General arrived. The signs read, Mississippi murderer, Kennedy, Kosher, and Khrushchev, Washington, D.C., a disgrace to white people. The pickets refused to obey police orders to leave and were arrested. 2 resisted. Police overpowered them and forcibly put them in a paddy wagon. All of this activity about 15 minutes before the Attorney General arrived. Kennedy then went into the governor's office for a closed conference. After the meeting, Governor Wallace said this.
Attorney General and I had a frank and courteous discussion regarding the problems between the states and the federal government. And after our discussion, my position is the same as it was during my campaign for governor last year in Alabama, the same as it was after the governor's race, the same as it was on Inauguration Day, and the same before Mr. Kennedy came to my office. And, of course, his position also remains unchanged.
Kennedy said he told Wallace he'd rather leave integration to the state, but warned that court rulings must be enforced. This is Bob Jones in Birmingham.
This country means anything, if our society is going to hang together at all, it's going to hang together because of law and observance of the law. And that's what we are interested in. This transcends the question of segregation or integration or desegregation. This is a question of law and order in the United States, number one, and number two, upholding the law of the United States.
Governor Wallace wasn't having it. Neither were the majority of Alabamians. And so they encircled Robert Kennedy, just like you see on these college campuses today. You see how they encircle the Jewish kid, right? And they have their they intimidate physically, they get up in their face. That's what they did to his father, Robert Kennedy, when he went down there. And he was hit by a rock. They were throwing stuff at him. I mean, they hated him.
We've been trying to deal with the injustices that have existed and to enforce the law, laws on the books dealing with voting, schools, other matters. And we've been active in our efforts to try to enforce the law and do all in our power in this area. But as far as bringing about the situation that exists at the present time, the demonstrations that have occurred, some of the disorders that have been created in some of the cities, the efforts to keep down the Negro, all of these clashes that have taken place, we have had no role. We've tried, when it's come to a head, to try to establish some communication between races in the various communities. In some cities we've been successful, in others we have not been successful, and there's still great problems.
What degree of communication do you feel has now been reached?
Well, I think it varies. I think that the situation now is better than it was several months ago on a national level. But I think that at the local level, in some communities, there's absolutely no communication whatsoever. Negroes refuse to talk to whites, or whites are refusing to talk to Negroes. I think that's one problem. And then I think in other communities, the Negro leadership has not been what it might be, and therefore communication is broken down. And other cities, the political leadership of the whites has led those leaders to feel that they either cannot afford or it's not politically wise for them to talk to Negroes, communicate with Negroes, and therefore communication is broken down. So I think it varies across the country. In my judgment, communication, a real dialogue, a meaningful dialogue between the races is what's going to achieve an answer to this problem in the long run. And I don't mean just the southern cities. I think northern communities as well. Northern communities, frequently there's discussion, but there's a complete lack of understanding, and there's not an effort to understand, which I think frequently both sides are at fault. But I think in the last analysis it depends on a real effort by everybody to have tolerance and understanding, and to try to talk and understand the other person's point of view.
Could you tell us a little about what the government has done to bring about this real dialogue that you speak of?
Well, we've frequently acted in the role of a catalyst of trying to impress upon whites or Negroes the importance of sitting down and talking to one another, of whites listening to Negroes air their grievances. Frequently we found that there have been demonstrations that have taken place, and nobody in the white community understands what the demonstrations are about. They don't understand what steps need to be taken in order to remedy a situation. On the other hand, we found Negroes that sometimes are demonstrating just to demonstrate, demonstrating without any clear reason, purpose in their demonstrations. I mean, this has happened frequently. So what we've attempted to do is to get both sides to talk to one another, to try to define what the issues are, what the problems are, what steps could be taken to remedy the situation. And we've done it and attempted to do it in a quiet way. And I think in some places I say it's been successful, and others we have not been successful, and there are still problems.
Mr. Attorney General, do you think the passage of legislation is going to go a long way towards solving this problem, or will we still have considerable work to do on this?
Well, I think that we're going to have difficulties and problems for some years to come. I think that the legislation is a step forward, an important step forward. And I think that it's important because it will reestablish the confidence of Negroes that whites and Negroes are going to work together to try to solve these problems. But in the long run, in the last analysis, legislation, this is a step forward, but just a very important, essential step. But in the last analysis, it's not the answer.
If you were to ask the average citizen to do any one thing to help with this problem, what would you ask them to do?
Well, I think just determining in one's own life and one's relationship with other people, with young people that are coming along, with students, in your day-to-day relationship, that you're living, you're treating other people who perhaps have a different religion or different color, different nationality, or different race, that you're treating them and helping them as you'd like to be helped, assisted, and treated.
And when he was running for president in 1968, he made a point to give a lot of speeches on college campuses in that tumultuous summer of 1968 with all the protests against the Vietnam War and a lot of radical activity going on. A lot of those leftist college kids hated him. They did not like him. He went into very hostile audiences, hostile crowds, to try and talk to them. And the reason he did it, because a lot of people were saying, Bobby, don't do it. That's dangerous. You might get hurt. He said, you know, the answer to offensive speech is more speech. Free speech means not just free speech for you. There's my big finger. It means free speech for me, too. And, you know, the average Jewish kid can get shouted down and silenced pretty easily when there's a mob that loud with loudspeakers on campus, right? Mm-hmm. They can't speak. But it's a lot harder to silence a presidential candidate. And a guy named Kennedy, because the Kennedy legacy is civil rights.
The commissioner of the Highway Patrol to order every man he's got.
Yeah. And how long is that going to take? We don't want somebody...
Well, I haven't been able to locate him. Here's what happened. He went to the doctor's office with this man that was hurt.
Yeah.
And I finally located him there after you told me to have him to get more people, don't you see, if you needed him.
Yeah.
And he thought then that the 50 he had would be sufficient.
Yeah.
But I told him by all means to order out everyone he had if he needed it.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly trying in every way.
We can't consider moving Meredith as long as there's a riot outside because he wouldn't be safe.
Sir?
We couldn't consider moving Meredith if we haven't been able to restore order outside. That's the problem, Governor.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Mr. President.
Yeah.
I'll go up there myself.
Well, now, how long will it take you to get there?
And I'll get a microphone and tell them that you have agreed to be removed.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Governor. Now, how long is it going to take you to get up there?
About an hour.
Now, I tell you what, if you want to go up there, then you call me from up there, and then we'll decide what we're going to do before you make any speeches about it.
Well, all right.
No sense in that.
Whatever if you'd offer.
See, we got an hour to go, and that's not. We may not have an hour, but it will take you an hour to get up there.
This man has just died.
Did he die?
Yes.
Which one? State police?
That's state policeman.
Yeah. Well, you see, we got to get order up there, and that's what we thought we were going to have.
President, please, why don't you, can't you give an order and try to remove him?
How can I remove him, Governor, when there's a riot in the street, and he may step out of that building and something happen to him? I can't remove him under those conditions. Let's get order up there, then we can do something about Americans.
Surrounded with plenty of officials.
Well, we've got to get somebody up there now to get order and stop the firing and the shooting. Then you and I will talk on the phone about Meredith. But first, we got to get order.
I'll call and tell them to get every official they can.
That's right. Then you and I will talk when they've got the building, when they've got order there. Then you and I will talk about what's the best thing to do with Meredith.
All right, then.
Thank you.
All right.
So I think he needs to pick up the mantle of his dad and his uncle and do the right thing and get out there and speak. And when I brought that up today, many of our campaign volunteers and staffers jumped down my throat for it.
Of course.
They're the Democrats, though, by the way.
Right,
These are not the Republicans on our campaign or the Libertarians, by the way. It was the Democrats, the ones who voted for Joe Biden and Barack Obama and now regret it. Yeah. They're the ones who are saying, no. Let's both sides this. That's the good strategy to win. You know, we need to placate those bigots, basically. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And Bobby hasn't. He hasn't said a word about the disorder and the lawlessness that's going on right now in our country, and the discrimination on our college campuses, which is a slap in the face to the Kennedys after all they did to integrate college campuses. So I got jumped on for that, but I'm not backing down. I still think it's the right thing to do, and I hope that Bobby doesn't listen to some of these advisors on his campaign who are telling him to shut up. You know, a lot, like I said, the Democratic Party leaders in 1963 told his uncle to shut up about civil rights because we might lose that Southern bigot vote. We wouldn't want to do that, now would we?
So you're in the meeting. He was in the meeting at the same time?
No, he wasn't present.
No, he wasn't present at the meeting.
No. But trust me, there are people behind the scenes bending his ear about it on both sides.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people say he should speak, and then others with more influence and maybe bigger pockets, that's all I'm going to say about that, are telling him not to speak, to just be quiet.
I don't know. In his position, he needs to do bold things to get elected. And doing those bold things, I would think, should involve doing the right things. So he's got everything to gain at this point by doing the right thing. And he's he's already taken it on the chin over Israel-Palestine. I don't know why. Well, I guess maybe I do. Wait, all the progressive liberals, the Democrats that you know within his circle, they came out swinging and bashing him as soon as he said he was supportive of Israel after October 7th. And they hammered him so hard, they hit him harder than they hit the guys running against him. They didn't attack Trump. They didn't attack Biden. They jumped all over their own guy, RFK Jr. Bizarre. With campaign supporters and workers like that, you don't need enemies. And a lot of those guys, I think, have abandoned him anyway to go and do. I don't know who they're supporting now. If anybody, Cornel West or.
It is strange, you know. Some of them are still hanging around the campaign. And I've asked them, I'm like, so if you're so vehemently opposed to his Middle East policy, why are you still here? Why aren't you defecting to Cornel West or Jill Stein? And they say, well, I'm willing to overlook that because he's so good on all the other things I care about. But I think a lot of them still have some vain hope that he's going to change and come to their point of view and turn like full Hamas. And I'm trying to tell him, look, that's very unlikely. It's very unlikely. But they're still holding out hope that he might go make a speech on a college campus in solidarity with the pro-Hamas protesters. And I'm like, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but nope. Not going to happen.
No, I
Sorry.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Because, again, it's a civil rights issue. It's not about Israel. It's not about Palestine. It's about equal access for every American. It's about equality for all.
Indeed.
We cannot separate ourselves, no matter where we live, from the problems and the troubles and the difficulties that face the whole of the United States. And I talk about now about the violence and the lawlessness and the disorder. I don't think that we have to accept the idea that summer after summer we're going to have violence. I don't think we have to accept the idea that summer after summer we're going to have looting. And I don't think we have to accept the idea that the stain of bloodshed is going to be ever across our country. Jefferson once said about the United States, we were the last best hope of mankind. That's what I want the United States to be. This is a generous and compassionate country. That's what I want this country to stand for. Not violence, not lawlessness, not disorder, but compassion and love and peace. That's what this country should stand for, and that's what I intend to do if I'm elected president.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.